Hello guys, how you doing? So today we're gonna do like a little bit of an overview of what you're gonna be seeing on your final math test. So this is your final math test, pre-algebra. You're gonna have 5 parts. The first one says write the fraction in the simplest form. You're just gonna do that for each one of the exercises and choose the best answer. And the second part, you're gonna look for the least common multiple. In the fourth part, you're gonna write the expression. Sorry, in the third part, you're gonna find the product and simplify. In the fourth one, you're gonna write the expression using only positive exponents, and I am um, emphasizing that only positive exponents. And in the fifth part, it says write the expression without using a fraction bar. What is a fraction bar? Well, that line right there, that is dividing your numbers into two. That is your fraction bar. And we have done this before in class. How can you take that fraction bar out? At the end of the test, you're gonna have your due date. Then that means that you're gonna have the whole day for that. You're gonna have a hyped link for your Google form. You can just press it and go to your Google form. And my email in case you need to send me anything. If you had any troubles uploading your exam or anything, you can also send it to my email. But again, I do prefer for you to do it on your Google form because if you do this on your Google form, you will have your grade automatically graded. And it's gonna send you an email with your grade. At the end right here says at the end of the Google form, you must upload your procedures. The format acceptable is PDF or images. That means that you can upload a PDF or any type of images at the end of that Google form, and you would just have to upload it with all your work. And again, you would just answer it and do your procedures or your work there. You're gonna show me your work at the end. If I don't see that work, I cannot give you credit for that if I don't see the procedure or the work for each of the exercises, okay? So again, at the end of the Google form, just take a picture of all your procedures, whether it was in the PDF that I send you or if you did it in your math notebook, it doesn't matter. Just be sure that I know that that exercise that you did there is from what part and what exercise specifically, okay? And do that procedure. The other thing that I need you to do is to write your name and grade for each of those pages. So let's see what you're going to be looking at. So again, this is going to be on LMS in College 1, but I always do a little bit of a copy here on our Google Classroom. You're just going to go to classwork and your unit 4, factors, fractions, and exponents. You go where it says final test, factors, fractions, and exponents. View material, and here you will have everything that you need to know about your test. You have your topic, you have your due date, and again, you're gonna have the whole day of December 8th to send me your answers. So that means that on December 9th, I am not gonna be receiving any more final test, okay? It says here, answer the test on the test PDF. That is the one that I'm sending you. Here it is, another copy of it. So if you want to see it, it's in PDF format. You can print it and do it there. If not, you can also just watch it on your computer and answer it in your notebook. Then you're going to go to your Google Forms. If you click it, it's going to take you to the Google Form. You can also click it here. It's also going to take you to the Google Form. And you can also, in your PDF at the end, you also have a hyped link that will take you to the Google form. So there are a bunch of ways that you can go there. Now I am doing this video, and as soon as I finish this video, I'm gonna upload it here, and you're gonna have another link with the examples, all right, with the examples for your test. So let's do those examples, okay? So in the first part, it says, write the fraction in the simplest form. So for example, if I have a fraction like 4/8, that's actually looking pretty good, considering that I'm using my mouse. Um, I can do this by using the prime factorization, right? I can prime factor it, and I know that 4 is the same thing as 2 times 2. And because 2 is a prime number, I cannot continue to prime factor it. It's going to be there. My prime factorization of 8 will be 2 times 4, right? And that 4, it is not a prime number, so I can actually continue to factor it to 2 times 2. And 2 is a prime number, so I have to leave it there. So I can just look for my greatest common factor. And if you remember our last quiz, all you had to do was look for everything that they had in common, right? So they had in common a 2. So I'm going to write there a 2. They also have in common another 2. Another 2. Now this number 8 right there has another 2 there, but I don't have another 2 to compare on my number 4. Therefore, I have to stop there. It is not the same as the least common multiple, right? And 2 times 2 is 4. Therefore, my greatest common factor is 4. And 4 is the number that I can divide my fraction 4 to simplify it. 4 divided by 4 is 1, and 8 divided by 4 is 2. And that is the simplest form of my fraction. And again, maybe you knew already that you could divide 4 by 4. You could do that, but if you want to see the whole procedure, let's say that you don't know what number you can simplify your fraction by, you can just need to look for your greatest common factor, and that number is going to be the one that can divide that fraction into your simplest fraction there. On your second part says, sorry, on your second part says, I'm looking actually at your test. It says, find the least common multiple of the numbers. So for example, you have, let's stick with that 2, sorry, let's stick with 4 and 8, right? Let's say that you're looking for the least common factor of 4 and 8. Now there are two methods to this part. I have talked about this on class before. There are two ways that you can do this. You can look for the multiplication tables of 4 and 8. And you can just say, well, this is going to be the multiplication table of 4 and 8, right? So I'm going to do it equal there. So 4 times 1 is 4, right? And 4 times 2 is 8. And if I continue, I know that 4 times 3 is 12, right? Sorry, that is, let me see if I can erase that. That was an ugly comma. That was supposed to be a comma. So now I'm seeing a pattern here. I can see that it has an 8, so I can stop because I know that 1 times 8 is 8. So let me just do the table of 8. And I know that 1 times 8 is 8. And I also know that 8 times 2 is 16. But I don't have to keep you putting all the multiplication table, right, of 8, because I already found my least common multiple, right? It's going to be the smallest number that the multiplication tables have in common. So my least common multiple in this example is going to be 8. Now there's another procedure, right? Let's say, let me divide this into two parts. This is procedure 1. This is form 1. This is one way you can do this. The other way is by using prime factorization, and we already did this in the last one. We know that 2 times 2 is 4. And with the 8, we already know that 2 times 4 is 8. And 4 again, we can just prime factor 2 times 2. So I know the prime factorization of 4 is going to be 2 times 2. And the prime factorization of 8 is going to be 2 times 2 times 2. So now to look for my least common multiple, all I have to look is what I have left, right? So everything that I have left. So this one has a 2 and this one has a 2. So I'm going to multiply that 2. And this one has a 2 and this one has another 2. So I'm going to multiply another 2 there. But then I am left with that number 2. What am I going to do with it? Well, you know something? I'm going to use it too. And I'm going to be left with 2 times 2 times 2. And how much is 2 times 2? 4 times 2, 8. Therefore, my least common multiple is 8. You see? It gave us the same exact answer. So again, you can do this in this method or you can use this method. It all depends of the numbers that you have. Maybe you have like a really, really big number and you don't want to do the whole table of those numbers, or you have numbers that are very, very odd and they just don't seem to have a least common fact multiple that is easy for you to find. So therefore, you can use the prime factorization method. But if you have two numbers that are very easy, that are simple to know all the multiples of it, then all you have to do is just do the periodic table. Sorry, the periodic table. Just to do the multiplication table of each of those numbers and just find the smallest number that they have in common. In this case, is the number 8. Now let's go to part 3. It says find the product and simplify. In here, we have been talking about what is an exponent, and we know what is that an exponent has two parts, right? Let me see if I can. This is like my laser point. There we go. There we go. That's my laser point. So again, we're gonna have in an exponent exercise, we're gonna have something that is called the base and an exponent. And the exponent is just going to tell us how many times are we going to multiply that base by. And this is something that we already have done before. And we know that our base is x. And it says that we're going to multiply that x how many times? 2 times. Therefore, this is my expanded notation and this is my exponent notations. So this is something that we have talked about. I don't remember what quiz. I think it was like the second quiz that we took that we were talking about exponent. I think it was our first test actually. So knowing what is our base, what is our exponents, we can actually do this part. Says find the product and simplify. So for example, if I have a variable, right, or any number that is expressed in exponent notation, right, that is elevated, let's say for example to the second power, and I am multiplying that for the same base, that is making it those terms are alike. This time let's do it elevated to 3 or to the third power. Then I can just write my base and add those exponents to simplify my equation, right? To simplify my exercise. And how much in this case is 2 plus 3 is 5. And that's all you really have to do. So this is how you, from this, you simplified it into this. Now, what happens if I'm not multiplying? What happens if I am dividing? That's a very good question. What happens if instead of multiplying, I have something that looks like this? X to the 5th power divided by x to the 2nd power. Then if you're multiplying, that means you're going to add your exponents. But if you're dividing, that means you're going to subtract them. So in this case, you're going to have the first number is going to be 5 because it's the one that is on the top. And to that one, you're going to subtract the number that is on the bottom, in this case 2. And this is going to be 5 minus 2 is equals 3. And again, I can only do this if my bases are the same, if they're alike. So for example, if I had something that looked like this, x to the 2 divided by y to the 2, I cannot do anything about this. Why? Because I have x and I have a y. They're different bases. Therefore, I cannot simplify them. If the bases were similar, they were equal, right? If they're both x's or they were both y's, then I can simplify them by the rules that we already talked about. But if they are different, I cannot do anything more with it. I have to let it be. So in our fourth part says, write the expression using only positive exponents. So for example, if I'm giving you x, sorry, let me write this down. If I have x2, -2, let's make it -2. How can I make this a positive? Well, the rule says that all I have to do is put a 1 over it, and therefore my base is going to stay the same, but my exponent is going to change from a negative to a positive. That's all you have to do, and that is how I change from a negative to a positive. What if I have more than one variable or more than one number there? Well, let's say if I have 2x to the 2nd power negative, and I need to make this a positive exponent. Well, my number 2 is already positive, so I'm going to leave that number 2 up there. By my x to the negative second power is negative, so I'll have to turn it into a positive. So I'm going to turn that to the bottom of my fraction there. And then I can turn it into a positive. And that will be my answer. But what if I have more than one variable? Well, simple. Let's say I have x to the negative 2nd power. But then again, I also have y to the negative 2nd power. Then all I have to do is just put 1 over all of that, right? I'm going to take first my x to the 2nd power. Now that one is a positive, and I do the same thing with the y. And now they're both positive. What if one of them was positive and the other one was negative? Well, that is even more simpler. Let's say I have x to the negative 2 times y to positive 2. Well, my y is positive, so it stays up. Sorry for my ugly way that I'm writing. I'm not using my tablet, and my laptop is not touch. I have to use my mouse. So, and my x to the negative second power. I can just put this in the bottom of my fraction and turn it into a positive. And that's all I really had to do. In the last part, it says write the expression without using a fraction bar. So let's say that I have 1 over x, I don't know, to the fifth power. Let's say it's sure, and I want to make this. I want to take away that fraction bar. How can I take away that fraction bar? Right there. Well, I can use the rule, right? All I have to do is take away that 1 over it and make my exponents negative, and that is how I took away that fraction bar. So in the fourth part, I was turning those negative into positive this way. In this part, it's gonna be like the reverse of it. From a fraction, I'm gonna turn it into a negative, and therefore I'm gonna take away that fraction bar. And that's it. That's all you really have to do. I think is not that bad. But if you guys have any questions or doubts about your test, please send me a message through WhatsApp so I can check it out and maybe help you out. I cannot make the exercises for you from the ones that you have in your test, but maybe we can do an example or we can go through some type of rule that maybe you're having a little bit trouble with, and maybe I can help you out like that. I wish you guys the best of luck. I know that you will do amazing. I have all the faith in you, and I'll see you when I see you because I know that some of you I may not see until the next semester, that is next year in 1 more month. So I'm gonna miss you. And I hope you enjoy your winter break and you do marvelously in all your tests. I'm rooting for you guys. See you soon.